my name is Emily. I am the Crazy Flippin' Mom. Welcome back to my channel. I know if you follow me on other social media platforms, you've probably heard me talk a lot about the Walmart Seller Summit, but I haven't shared my thoughts on every specific moment and things that I heard at the event, so I thought I would do that today. This was my second Seller Summit, and I will say if you follow me a while, you've heard me talk about the previous one, and it was amazing. I walked away so excited, happy. I thought the event was fantastic. And so I kind of went into this event knowing what to expect and kind of seeing like, okay, this is pretty much how the layout was. This is how it's going to be this year. Looking forward to it. And unfortunately, I walked away really disappointed, discouraged, unhappy. And I want to share why, what I experienced, and get feedback. Is it just me? Did you have the same experience? I know a lot of people didn't go, so here's what I heard. And I hope that, I don't know what I'm hoping. I'm just sharing my experience, and I do hope things change, but I don't think that's gonna happen either. So let's just get into it and we'll see what happens. First, the event was in Chula Vista. I've never been to San Diego, but I heard friends who were like, why is it in Chula Vista? That's really far out there. And there's not a lot to do there. But when I talked to Walmart support at other events, they were like, it's beautiful, you're gonna love it. So I was like, okay, great. And it was far. It was far from San Diego. It wasn't really conducive to connection networking. There were a group of people who never even stayed at the where the hotel, the conference center was, because it was so pricey, like $600 a night. And there was resort fees, and it was really expensive. So just coming in, the price of the venue and like to go to a bar, hotel, or to go to a restaurant, it was all very, very expensive. A lot of people left. So the networking, unless you created it and the events you like facilitated, was missing. And that was probably up there one of the big disappointments of my weekend, because you did pay so much. And to have it at a resort with a pool, it was beautiful, but a lot of people were only there for like 2 days and you had no time to sit at a pool. So it was, to me, the event space was a total miss compared to last year when there was walking and like you could walk to a bar and you could walk to a restaurant and you had options. Here, you really had to Uber 10, 15 minutes at the very least to get to a place to have a nice dinner or party or get together or anything like that. So from the event perspective and the cost to get there, it was probably 3 times as much as I paid last year. So I kind of expected like the actual event to make up for some of those misgivings at the beginning. This event compared to last year was probably almost cut in half. Last year, I think there was 2 morning general sessions and an ending session that ended the event. And then of course, a couple parties that Walmart hosted. And this one, I think there was a half a day that started the event and then 1 full day that the event floor was open. And then the last day, it was supposed to be open. I don't know where I heard this or what happened, but the floor on the last day was closed. None of the vendor booths were open. Spark Bar had been moved to another section and was only open till like noon. And we knew people who had meetings later on in the day whose meetings were just canceled. So from that take, it was very short, very weird, 1 general session. And I don't think the schedule, there was a lot to fit into basically 1 full day. I didn't love that either. I didn't even get to all the booths, in fact. So that was like, you paid so much to get there and then to not even experience the whole thing just because it was so short. Also an issue. It started, the floor opened, it was like noonish, and they opened the floor and you had access to everything. I had Spark Bar meetings set up that like as soon as I got on the floor. And Spark Bar meetings, if you don't know, is when you set up a meeting and you can meet with a Walmart associate, talk about anything from account health issues, IP claims, compliance was there, all of the things are happening. So I walked on the floor, went right to my Spark Bar meeting, which I found out was canceled. It wasn't actually canceled, they just didn't have it set up correct in the system. So that was a wash. A friend let me jump into her meeting and didn't really get a lot out of that one. Unfortunately, Spark Bar sessions are like the meat of this event because you get to actually talk to somebody who can make huge changes in your account quickly. So that's, I would say, the driving factor to show up at an event, because you can make these connections. So that first meeting being canceled was disappointing. And I did have like 10 minutes at the end of her meeting to ask questions. And I asked about IP claims, because those are a huge issue. Like, how do we know brands that we're not supposed to sell because you let us list anything on the platform? And what she responded to me on that was basically like, if you don't think the brand will let you sell it, then don't sell it. So not helpful at all. I ended that with her saying, compliance is here. You can go talk to them in the back. And I was like, I didn't set up a meeting with the compliance team, but she's like, just go back over there. So there's a Spark Bar session with tables, cubicles, and then like in the corner were these 3 or 4 people just standing there, just randomly, nowhere, no cubicle, just, and I said, I went over there, hey, are you compliance there with the compliance team? Through the grapevine, we heard they were just told like the week before they had to attend. There was obviously no thought put into where they were going to be standing, what they were going to be doing, maybe some training. It just seemed very pushed in the corner, which, mind you, compliance, that is the biggest issue on the platform. And to me, that visual is very fitting, that it was an afterthought. We'll put you guys in the corner. They didn't want to be there. Nothing was more obvious than they didn't want to be there. Just the way they were interacting and responding. And most of the people talking to compliance were upset over compliance issues on their account that they didn't have answers to. So it just created a very hostile environment. I talked to a guy who seemed like he would rather go to a mammogram than stand there and talk to me. And they didn't really have anything to say, because it's so much like, oh yeah, we know about this. Oh, we didn't know about this. Oh, this is coming. It was just, man, it was a big swing and a miss from them that they would bring a compliance team with no training, what seems to be no training, no personality, stick them in the corner, and then we're like, hey, good luck. So that was basically the first day. And that morning, I had woken up to hear that CPC was rolling out for kids and babies. So basically, we will not be able to sell kids and baby items on the platform. I know a lot of I'm not selling formula and bottles. I sell a lot of clothing items. So I was waking up really discouraged because CPC testing results on kids' shorts. How do you find that? I woke up like a gut punch hearing this news about kids. Then I went to the event and it just seemed like, yeah, this platform could not give 2 F's about their sellers, from how they set this up to the training to the environment. I was, by the end of the day, I'm telling you, I was so disappointed, discouraged, all the D words, depressed, everything. I remember like this sinking feeling, and I know people who sell health and beauty, probably the similar sinking feeling of knowing like my business is over. These people do not care about sellers. I think they care about their shareholders and trying to compete with Amazon at all costs. And now they're getting in trouble for allowing anybody and everybody to come on their platform. It's all backfiring, and sellers will be the carnage from every decision that they make. Good sellers that they've invited on the platform. We are guilty until proven innocent in their eyes. And the day one of the event, man, I don't even know how to put it, but you guys know if you're selling on this platform, if you walked away from that first day, depending on who you talk to at the Spark Bar, some people are like, oh, we're glad you're here. We love you, what you're doing. Next person, you're not supposed to be doing that. We don't allow, there was just so many inconsistencies depending on who you talk to. Second day, there was definitely some improvements. That was the general session day. The general session honestly was trash, terrible. This really showed their sellers that all they care about is their bottom line profit and competing with Amazon, and they will do anything to succeed, even throw all of their sellers under the bus. That was very evident. They didn't have a lot of good news to offer, especially compared to last year when they had everybody from every department come on and talk about all the changes and updates and good things that were coming for sellers. And this year it was all missing. Jay Leno wasn't there. And about halfway through I left, because it's like, if I want to hear some people talk about how amazing they are, I could go literally anywhere else. And I don't think I missed anything. I walked out And you know, these events kind of put the future into perspective on like what's going to happen, changes that are coming. And even though compliance told me like, yeah, we gated basically the big categories that are going to be gated, and there's no real big gatings besides the kids and baby, we know that's not true either because of gating that's going to happen on brands, that restrictions, CPCs, like that's all coming. It's not hasn't even hit yet. So we knew that was basically lies. Whether they knew it or not. And again, depending on who you talk to, very different. But after that first day, and then I left the general session on the second day, I was like, to put it in my kids' words, I'm cooked. Like, what am I supposed to be doing now? But like I said, that second day, I actually met with a couple people who gave me really great insights on the platform. And I felt a little bit of hope. Like, okay, all is not lost. And I made good connections, and that's really all it's about. And so if you go and you're not an outgoing person and you don't set up those meetings, it probably was a wash for you. I don't know what you could have gotten out of it. And I really had to work for those connections too. The major things that I learned though through the event is CPCs asking for children's product certificates are their way to vet sellers, to make sure that they have good sellers on the platform. And it's basically their way of gating and restricting categories without coming out and doing that. I think they had a lot of pushback from just shutting down health and beauty. And also from what I've heard, not even at this event, but from a lot of other places and people, is they are so overwhelmed. They lack the infrastructure. I know this is not surprising to anybody, but they made big changes like, we want everybody to submit documents to sell health and beauty. We want everybody to submit a child's product certificate to sell kids and baby and all the other things. They don't have the infrastructure to actually process those requests, to process those certificates, invoices, your information. That's for me, one of the biggest when I walked away and I was like, yeah, we're cooked on this platform because they're demanding everything to look good to the press, to look good to all the issues that they've created without actually hiring and training internally the team to carry and to make this happen. My dog hates my clicker, my scanner over here, so he might leave. My scanner kind of resets every once in a while. When you hear CPC is coming for kids and beauty, it is to me the kiss of death because that's something that they're not even handling themselves. They've hired a third party business to come and look through all of those for their sellers. And I have submitted cases to get ungated and baby and health and beauty. I've submitted product certificates and none of those has been processed. It's been weeks, months. I've talked about this before here. So I don't know, walking away, did I learn anything? No, but the environment from last year to this year just completely shifted. Last year I left and I was thinking this is everything Amazon is not. They are so seller focused and connected with like the heartbeat of what we need. And this year, I think they grew so quickly, they really couldn't control a lot of this, but so disjointed, so disconnected. I don't know what the future for sellers on this platform will be. It doesn't seem positive though. I don't have a lot of hope moving forward. They have to auto-correct for their mistakes. CNBC just released a huge article on how their internal team was just trained to let anybody on the platform, and the rise of fake products being sold and bad sellers. It's a huge issue for them. And if you look at Amazon and how much money they've put into combating fakes, frauds, and then you look at what Walmart is doing, I'm really torn because I love this platform, but I'm also like, do you want sellers here? Do you need sellers here? Because truly, I don't think they do. They have buildings, they have storefronts everywhere. Do they need sellers only to compete with Amazon? So at the end of the day, weren't they happy without third-party sellers? Like, what's the point of us being there? And this really is affecting everybody equally, wholesale and private label. We're all falling under the same issues. I know these platforms, like their golden seller would be a private label brand owner type seller. That's always the vibe you get at these events, which is fine. But I have yet to speak to one brand owner who is thriving on Walmart. Yet to speak to one. I've heard terrible things, only terrible things. I have been to private label events, only terrible things about private label on Walmart. So that's really interesting. And let me unplug this. I know. The issues coming out do not just target resellers, they're targeting everybody. And I've heard the question, are resellers even allowed on this platform? Yes, they are. But in their terms of service, I have read it, a lot of what they say reseller, basically anybody who's not private label. One, but then their terminology is different. And so if you say certain words, they classify that as drop shipping, which is obviously against their terms of service. So you have to be really careful when you are speaking to a Walmart associate, because our verbiage and the language we use at Amazon doesn't always translate correctly and could get you suspended on Walmart. So be sure to read the terms of service before you talk and reach out to somebody over there. But overall, my view of the event was not great. I walked away really discouraged, and I love meeting people in my community, my friends, my family. We had the best time together, and we survived because we were together. But I could not tell you how much that this event sucked, how it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It wasn't just because of one thing specifically, it was the environment and the atmosphere they have created so hostile towards sellers over the past year. I don't know. I moved a lot of my business back to Amazon, I should say that. I'm selling off all of my baby and kids. And if you talk to them, they're like, send in your product, WFS for Q4. I do not trust anything out of their mouth. And I would encourage you not to do the same either. I don't think they know what to do, know what to say, but in a moment's notice, all of your products you send in WFS could be aired out, restricted, with no timeline to get it back in the mail or back to sell it. So right now, I went from, I love this platform, everybody should sell there, to, I don't know what I'm doing there. I wish I did, quite honestly, I wish I did, because I make a substantial amount of my income. I am a full-time seller. I make a substantial amount from this platform. So I'm telling you from a person doing it, living it, and this is my take. I'm worried because the changes they're making, they really don't have the infrastructure to carry. And I think it will fall all negatively on the backs of their sellers. So currently I'm really hesitant to send anything in unless it's the most boring products that I know could never get CPC'd. I'm not going deep in anything. I can't foresee myself sending in toys for Q4 on Walmart. And I would honestly encourage you, I'm not here to spread fear, but wisdom. And I do not think it's wise to send in toys Q4 on Walmart. You know, you guys know the issues that they will air out, they will restrict. And some of the things they told me there were, you need to remove those listings from your catalog that are aired, that you do have IP claims on. Well, they're WFS. I cannot actually remove them. It is a glitch in the system. You can retire them, you cannot delete them. That's causing huge issues for sellers. People are getting suspended. People cannot get ungated because the amount of errors on their catalog that they cannot actually fix. So every decision they make creates so many more issues for sellers that I am kind of in a holding pattern over here. And nothing I heard there made me think, okay, it's going to get better. So until further notice, that's where I'm at. I'm sorry I don't have better news. And I'm super irritated, honestly. And I've tried to make this video a couple times because it's really only in my best benefit to speak highly of platforms. Like when you come out and you say positive things about anybody, you tend to get more relationships and networking connections from that. But I don't have anything good to say. So I'm disheartened and, you know, confused by where this platform is going. And that's that. And I'm going to post below the CNBC article that was made about Walmart. It doesn't look good for them. A lot of the things that happened internally, and we know health and beauty shut down overnight. There must have been some bad stuff that went down. Yes, from this article, it appears that to be so. So I'm interested in your take, though. If you went to the summit, things you've heard, people you talked to, I want to be wrong on this. I want to be wrong. I don't think I am. But thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing with your friends. Listen, my perspective will always be for the seller. I do not care about the rich executives at Walmart, the 1%ers. I do not care about that, making them feel good about their lives and their business if it doesn't put their sellers first, if we're the sacrifice. So that's an irritating part to me about all of this, is they want to like toot their own horn, all the crap that they've done, knowing good and well that their bills are going to be made. You know, they have the money, and we will be the ones who are sacrificed. Our sales, and we are small, a lot of us are small sellers. So that's why when you hear me speak passionately on any of my podcasts, this channel, Instagram, it's because I'm irritated. This is affecting me, my bills, my family. And for somebody who was like a huge cheerleader and who helped get so many sellers on, that for them to do this, I don't think I will ever have trust in this platform again from the things that they've done. I don't know how they rebuild trust with their sellers, but I am mad. I am mad. And when you hear me talk, it's because I'm mad what they've done to sellers. We know friends who've gone bankrupt. They can't even afford to get their product back from warehouses. On and on and on. I hear all these stories and it makes me so mad. So I don't have anything good to say about them. I thought the event sucked. I thought they could have done better, but I think it really was reflective on how they think and feel about their sellers, which is poorly. So they put on a poor event. And yeah, if I keep going on at some point, I'm going to start raging and just throwing stuff around. So I'll stop while I'm ahead. But thank you for watching this. Be safe out there. Protect your business. Until next time.